Hello everyone, this is Dr. Song. Welcome to my YouTube video for quantitative research method. Finally, we started today, week 5. We have been scrutinizing the descriptive statistics using the SPSS in the week 4. So now we are entering the about the inferential statistic, which means that we will use the many analyses to find out the significance of the variables we test. So for that, and the basis, we have to know what hypothesis means, and then what kind of hypothesis exists, and how you can construct the hypothesis before proceeding with the analysis. So that is about the week 5. And then you can see that hypothesis testing and the selecting analysis. So this is the main item of the week 5. Introduction is descriptive statistics. So you saw through the many weeks how you can obtain the frequency table of your variable, graph, central tendency, and then variability, and then standard deviation, percentiles, quartile, box plot, and etc. Outlier also. And then also to test about the normality, we have the KS test, but also histogram, QQ plot, PP plot, etc. So we did that until here is the until during the week 4, and now week 5 is about the inferential statistic. The second goal of the quantitative research is to make a generalization to the population from which the sample is drawn. So we cannot test the whole population. We always need the samples. So with the samples, it can be 1,000 or 2,000, etc. We will draw the generalization from the test result to apply to the population. So that's why inferential statistics are important because we cannot test with the whole population. And the learning objective is first the hypothesis, and then there are two kinds, directional and the non-directional. Directional, which means in another words, is a two-way, two tails. No, no, sorry. Directional is one tail, and then non-directional is two tails. Sorry. So directional means the one tail means that you can decide your result before, like A group will be higher than B. That is directional. Non-directional will be A and B groups different. So this is non-directional because you don't say that which group will be the higher or lower, just you will say it's different. That is non-directional. Directional means that you will give the precise the decision and the prediction about which one will be higher or lower. And the errors in hypothesis testing. So there are always error amount, and that is also very important to determine if your result is significant and then how much power has. And the level of significance, this is a p-value. Selection of the statistical test. Yeah, so that is very much depending on many things, the variable types and what kind of hypothesis you construct, and then you can choose the type of the statistical test. So this is about the week 5. And you can see here hypothesis and the research questions. So they are in fact going together. When you make the research questions, which means there is a hypothesis, and the hypothesis also that reflects your research questions in the quantitative research method. So the main goal of any research is to find the statistical support for their research hypothesis. So that is necessary to conduct analysis, of course, because you will give the what kind of significance you want from your research. And then here, hypothesis is an assumption. So it's an assumption about the relationship between the variables and provide the general framework for the investigation. It reflects the researcher's belief about the relationship between variables. So, for instance, like a very simply and then clearly, it's like the people who have high frequency of the exercise are they will be more healthier than the who don't have the exercise. So this is very like a common sense, but let's say that this is the hypothesis. So you see that there will be the difference about the health condition between the people who have exercises regularly, and then the other people who don't have the exercise regularly. So this is your assumption. So your assumption that is reflected in your hypothesis. Why two hypotheses? Because you have to reject, or you have to not to reject. So for instance, there is a null hypothesis, means that there will be no difference about the health condition between people who have exercise and then the people who don't have exercise. This is about the null hypothesis because you don't see there will be no difference. And then the alternative hypothesis, that means the second hypothesis, will be the people who have exercise will be healthier than the other group. That will be the alternative hypothesis. So if your research, so the analysis result will say there is no difference, you will accept your null hypothesis. That means that there will have no difference. And then if you find that there will be effectively the difference, you cannot reject you cannot reject your null hypothesis. That means that you will accept the null hypothesis. And then if you reject, that means that there will be the difference between the two groups. So let's see the more details. Null hypothesis. It predicts no significant relationship between the independent and dependent variables. So there will be the people who have the exercise or people who don't have the exercise. So there will be no difference in the health condition. That will be the null hypothesis. And then that is symbolized with the H0. There is no statistically significant relationship between hours of exercise, level of appetite, among the students in the Department of Communication in the university. So here there are two variables. So the hour of exercise and the relationship between the appetite. So this is this research questions and also the hypothesis. And then there is no difference. I mean, there is no relationship between the hour of exercise and the appetite. And then you will accept your null hypothesis. There is no difference. And then if there is a difference, you will reject your null hypothesis. So alternative hypothesis, that is about when there is a difference and then when there is a relationship. If there is a significant relationship between independent and dependent variable, and then you can call that is a alternative hypothesis. So there will be the independent variable and dependent variable. If they have the relationship between the two, and then you can say that effectively they have the difference or they have a relationship. There is a statistically significant relationship between the number of hour exercise and then level of appetite among the students in Department of Communication of the University of Ottawa. So this one will be the alternative hypothesis. So you will reject your null hypothesis. If there is if there is a statistically significant difference between the male and female regarding their self-esteem, this is another research. And then if there is a significant difference, you will accept your null hypothesis, and then you will reject your null hypothesis. So if there is no significant difference or no significant relationship, and then you will fail to reject your null hypothesis in this case. Yeah. Okay. And then how you know about that? How you reject? How you not reject? How you will not reject your null hypothesis? How you reject? That is about the p-value. So the magic probability, that is like how they can call. So if there is a p equal less than 0.05 or less, yeah, and then you can accept your null hypothesis. That means that there is a significant difference or there is a relationship, and then you will reject your null hypothesis. There is no difference. So in fact, these are going together. P-value less than 0.05. It is in other words, there is a 95% they are different or they have a relationship. So you know the 95% is very close to 100%, and then we can say confidently about this significance level that is significant, and then this is expressed by p is less than 0.05. That means that the possibility not to have the this 95% will be the less than 0.05, so 5%. So that means that they are going together, 95 and then 5. Okay, so direction of research hypothesis. So this is one-tailed research hypothesis we call. The other one, without the direction, just that there is a relationship or there is a difference, that is the two-tailed. This one is one-tailed. This one is about you give the direction. So like here, for instance, here, there is a statistically significant difference. Not like that. You will say that male students have the higher self-esteem, and then female students will be a lower self-esteem. This is the case about the direction. Which one has the more or lower and is one-tailed? And then according to this, you have to reject and then accept your null hypothesis. So when you reject, that means that your assumption was correct. So for instance, when you say that males have a higher self-esteem than the female, and your research result shows that male students has a higher self-esteem than the female, and then you can say that this is significant, and then you accept your alternative hypothesis and then you reject your null hypothesis. But if a female has the higher self-esteem than the man, and then you have to reject your alternative hypothesis, and then you accept your null hypothesis because your research hypothesis in the beginning you said the male has the higher than female. So the result shows that there is a reverse, and then you have to reject your null hypothesis. So that's why we use a lot with the two tail, because that is anyhow, and no matter how the female or male, if there is a significant difference, you will accept your alternative hypothesis and then you will reject your null hypothesis. That's why we use a lot two tails. So this is about in the beginning, I mean the introduction of the hypothesis. I hope you will review what I explained in this video, and then you will understand exactly why you need the two types of hypothesis and what hypothesis means in the quantitative research method. And then next time, we will see the more details and then some quizzes about this concept of the hypothesis. Thank you so much for today, and then I will see you next time.